All right, what is going on, you guys? It is the very sad part of the season where we put the boat up. It is December 6th today. Had a little bit of a cold snap, but it's under 20 degrees in New York City right now, and kind of recommend that if it's gonna be basically below freezing for 24 to 48 hours at a time, you're gonna want to get your boat winterized sooner rather than later. Again, we all really like to delay this process, but it's super important to make sure that your expensive boat is ready to go for the next season. And we're just going to walk you through some of the best tips, tricks, and practices to make sure that when you turn her on in the spring and the bass are running, the bluefins are running, you got a boat that is still going to be running as well. So thank you to West Marine for sponsoring this video. Really excited to be working with them. Everything that you could possibly need to winterize a boat is available at westmarine.com or in store at West Marine as well. We've been shopping there for many, many years before we were working with them, and again, they are the #1 resource for all of these products. So again, thank you for West Marine for sponsoring us on this video. Again, it is a very sad day, but making sure that you take care of this is going to set you up for success next season. So we'll walk you through some of these steps. We already got the engines done, and we're gonna go through some of the washdown pumps and all the other systems right now, all right?
Shore power, you plug this in and it turns 120 volt AC into your place you plug in shore power.
That's gonna give us some power. We don't have any AC power. Now we can get the pumps going and start this winterization process. And here is our -50 degree rated antifreeze. West Marine sells this, I believe, all the way to -100 degree. Okay, so in addition to the antifreeze, we have this winterizing, or this water pump converter winterizing kit that West Marine sells. Basically what this does, and it allows you to convert your pump, so say your freshwater, your saltwater pump, and actually use the pump itself to basically cycle the antifreeze through the system. Instead of having an external pump that you would need to use in order to cycle the antifreeze, you can actually use the pump itself to actually push the antifreeze through the system. Well, as you can see, we are in New York City, so definitely not gonna have to have the -100 degree stuff. Maybe for my buddies who are up in Ontario, they'll need that. And we've already got the engines done here. The Marina did it for us. But basically what you're gonna do with the engines is you'll see there's a little seacock down there. Seacock is closed, it's plugged, and where you would be pushing water through the entire engine system, you basically just have to cycle that with antifreeze. So we're not gonna do that for you right now, but we'll explain in a little bit more detail with a diagram later. So you see he's got that going in there right there. And we're gonna hook that up to our existing pump. And again, start with the washdown pump. We're gonna start off by hooking it up to the washdown pump and cycling antifreeze through that entire system. So you see, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here. Got the washdown pump mounted at the back all the way over there. Big brother Jason is taking off the fitting where it pulls in salt water. And again, you want to make sure that your seacock is closed so you don't just flood the entire engine compartment with water. And then we're going to hook up this pump, this kit that we got from West Marine, and again, cycle antifreeze through that entire system. All right, so you'll see we've got that antifreeze going. It is. Crawl back here. We're going to stick it right through there. And that is how we're going to start the winterization process. Now I'm gonna find my raw water pump here. I'm gonna turn that guy on. And now it is, instead of taking water from the seacock, it is now taking water from, we're taking fluid from the antifreeze tank. All I'm gonna do now is I'm going to let that pump run until I see all of the water flushed out of the system, and you'll see it'll turn pink here eventually. Okay, so like I said, our hose was frozen, so we're just gonna let that pump out here a little bit. And again, that probably means that we waited a little bit too long to get antifreeze into this system, because this hose itself was actually frozen. Got filled up with antifreeze and we're good to go now. Jason is taking off the other fitting for the hose, because pretty safe assumption that if the saltwater hose is frozen, that this freshwater hose is probably going to be frozen as well. You can actually feel it. So again, underscores the importance of winterizing your boat earlier rather than later. Anytime that you've got a couple days where it's below freezing, it's plenty of time to get some of your systems screwed up, and we all love fishing in the wintertime, but you know, probably better to just call it a week early if you see some cold weather in the forecast. So we're gonna keep going here. We're gonna go inside and we're gonna start on the freshwater system now. Want to make sure that we get all of the water out of the tank. So I've got my sink going right here, pulling all that water out. I've got a sink in my bathroom, that one's already flushed out. That one's good to go. And again, I'm gonna sound like a broken record here, but the whole point of winterizing is just to get all of the water out of the boat, all the systems. So you got engines, you got freshwater pumps, you got saltwater pumps, you have live well pumps. On this boat, we actually have a Seakeeper, which also is water cooled. So you got to make sure that that is taken care of as well. But water is the enemy in the winter time. Water expands when it gets cold. Obviously, if you took 6th grade science, you know that. And any water we can get out of the system is gonna prevent failure in the future. So running antifreeze through all the different lines, all the systems, is gonna make sure that everything's working when we start up again and we don't have an expensive winter. And now Jason is telling me that we should have done this last week, but I wanted to go giant tuna fishing this weekend, so probably my fault, but it's all good, we're getting it done. Waiting on that water to get out of the freshwater system. I just want to show you a few of the other things that we're going to do down here in the engine room. And this is the same for outboard engines, inboard engines, board boats. All these batteries, we're going to want to disconnect these, so there's no discharges in the winter time. We don't want to get a call from the marina saying that our boat is on fire. So we've got 2 batteries over here. We also have 3 batteries on this side. I want to make sure all your fluids are topped off. So here we've got our coolant. Make sure that this is topped off. You can see it over on this side. And you're gonna want to make sure that, can't reach all the way back in there, but the oil is topped off as well. Make sure again all the fluids in the system are all taken care of, and you know, the less air, less water you have, the less possibilities you have for a potential failure of some kind. The other system that we have on this boat that needs to get taken care of is the generator right down here. The same thing, they're gonna fill it up with oil, and I forgot to mention they're gonna change all the oil filters on this stuff. It's regular scheduled maintenance that you want to do before winterizing the boat as well. But same thing with the generator, water cooled, so close the water access, run coolant through, or run antifreeze through the entire system. And that will make sure that this guy is good to go in the future. And once we're done with that, we'll get that switch off there. As you can see, still got water running out here, so take care of that. Our Seakeeper is right under there, and that's the next system that we're gonna get winterized as well. Again, as you can tell, the common thread with all of this stuff is anything that involves water needs to be rid of water and filled with antifreeze. So okay, and then right down here, obviously not every boat is going to have this, but this is the Seakeeper cooling pump. So obviously the Seakeeper operates at very high RPMs and it needs to be water cooled. So Jason's using that same kit that we got from West Marine. I can't tell you how much of a lifesaver that thing is, instead of having an external pump that you have to fit into all of this nightmare. We're not small guys, so trying to fit in here is difficult enough anyway, and having one less piece of equipment is always super great. So put that fitting right on there, and you can hear in the background our freshwater pump is still going, getting all that water out of the system still. And that is good to go. It's all hooked up. And then you can see antifreeze is back behind there. I am going to get over here. And I'm going to find the Seakeeper pump. On this boat. Here's our Seakeeper. We're gonna turn on the breaker. Breaker to the Seakeeper is on. And then right here, see the Seakeeper. Try to get an angle that you guys can see here. Seakeeper is ready to be turned on. On the Seakeeper, I'm going to override it. Press that Seakeeper override right there. And that's gonna force it to take the antifreeze out of that hose. And if I look outboard over here, yeah, it's coming. You'll see, that's where the cooling for the Seakeeper comes out. And that pink stuff means that we have the Seakeeper officially winterized. So that's one more system down. That is 2 main systems down. We've got raw water done, we've got the Seakeeper done, so now we have the live well pump to do, and we have the freshwater pump to do. So we're waiting on the freshwater to get pumped out here. Once that's pumped out, we'll do that real quick, and then live well pump is pretty much it. And then I'll tell you about a couple other kind of last little things that you should be doing that aren't related to actually putting antifreeze into the system. Obviously, this is not perfect practice, but we're realistic here at East End Angler. And we probably should have done this a week ago again, but we are in time. Again, that New Jersey December bluefin fishery gets pretty good, so definitely don't wait till the last minute. But as you can see here, we are pretty much almost done. A little bit more water getting through the system here, and we'll be good. This thing is going real good now. Worked out a lot of that ice from the system by pumping water through it, so we're now moving. While we are waiting on the water to get out, the fresh water to get out of the system, just a couple other things that we're gonna do to the boat before we put her away. We will take some diesel fuel stabilizer, which I will put a B-roll shot in here right so you can see it, and I will show you once we get it, but put some diesel fuel stabilizer into the system. That helps break up a lot of the gunk, break up a lot of the bad stuff that's in the fuel. Fuel's not always particularly clean, so want to make sure that that's all out of the system when you start the engines in the springtime, so you don't put all that bad stuff that's been gathering for the entire winter time into the system. Like I showed you before, make sure to disconnect all the batteries. We're gonna put Western Marine sells a great little dehumidifier made by Starbright that we're gonna put into the cabin to take all the moisture out of the cabin. That's gonna make sure that all the soft goods on the inside are gonna be nice and clean. And then I'll show you a little video of the boat completely shrink wrapped. So it's especially up here in the Northeast, you don't want snow, ice, any extra stuff building up on the boat over the winter time. The best way to do that is shrink wrapping it, just like you'd shrink wrap a car. If you're in the marina, there's all sorts of shrink wrap boats already. It's a travel lift, so once we're all done with our boat, it'll be in one of these travel lifts and it'll be put onto what we call the hard cinder blocks, concrete blocks, wood, whatever apparatus to basically get it up out of the water. And you'll see here, I was talking about the shrink wrapping. This is actually a big catamaran that's already shrink wrapped right here. So as you can see, our boat is covered from head to toe here. It's obviously quite a bit bigger boat than ours, but you can see it's completely covered. Nothing's gonna get in there. Nice and hard. And there you see. And thank you, West Marine. That's the good stuff right there. Yeah. So while walking here, just again at a high level, what is winterizing a boat? Winterizing a boat is basically just getting all the water out of the system so that there's no chance for water to expand and basically damage the systems, right? So think about, you have a live well pump, you have a washdown pump, you've got a freshwater pump. Any water that's left over there in the wintertime, like what gets below freezing, is going to expand. It's going to expand, it's going to crack the metal, it's going to basically break all the components of the pumps themselves, all the systems themselves. So obviously the more complicated of a boat that you have, the more complicated the winterizing process is. Diesel boats is obviously a little bit more complicated than outboard boats as well. We're not going to get too into the intricacies of doing the engines themselves. You're definitely capable of doing it. I'll show you some products that West Marine offers that you could definitely get it done yourself. But we let the marina do that, and we're just going to take care of these systems. So I'm going to open up my freshwater tank. Now that all the water is out of there, I'm going to take this antifreeze. This is going to be a little bit difficult with one hand, obviously. I spilled a little bit, but I'm going to put 2 gallons of this antifreeze in there, and we're going to run this through all of the remaining the remaining systems. So I've got, like I said, I've got my sinks. I've got 2 sinks on the inside of the boat, and then I've got a freshwater pump. So all those are gonna have to, basically, we're gonna have to pump them out until we're only seeing this pink stuff coming out. So I'm gonna stop spilling this stuff and I'll let you guys know when we get there. I have one done. Same thing with the next one. I'm going back in the cabin now that we got all that antifreeze in there. I am going to turn on my freshwater pump, turn the sink on. Still waiting on that one. While I'm doing that, I can also do a toilet. You guys will lift up on the toilet. And these guys, you'll see it will force water into toilet, and we want to run a good bit of pink stuff through that. And that one's good to go. Make sure again that that is pumping all of that beautiful pink out. That one's all done. I'm gonna go. Going into the bathroom. I'm going to wait for that one to pump all the way through. You can slowly see that starting to get pink. Get out of the light. Not quite there yet. You want it to look that color. Make sure you got a consistent stream before you turn it off. Make sure it's not going to get any darker. Obviously this is aerated, so it's going to be a little bit lighter than that pink down there, but that's good to go. And here's the last hatch close of the season. And just like that, season is over. We still got to do the AC, and we still have to do the live well pump, but that has to be done when the boat is out of the water. So that's gonna wrap up our in-water portion of the winterization process. Thank you very much to West Marine. Again, I'm gonna come back to the boat. I'm gonna do the air conditioner, do the live well, put some stabilizer in the fuel tank, get everything shrink wrapped, cleaned up, put a dehumidifier on the inside of the boat, and that's going to conclude our season, so we will see you in April. Thank you very much to West Marine, as always, for helping us out with this video, and anything you need. We went through 6 gallons of antifreeze for this, and probably going to need a little bit more, so I'll be calling you, West Marine. Thanks, guys.